Most people believe that change happens through effort, discipline, and trying harder. We assume that if we push ourselves enough, think positively enough, or work long enough, life will eventually shift in the direction we want. But there is a deeper force shaping every experience we have, and it lives inside the body. The nervous system quietly determines how safe life feels in each moment. When the nervous system perceives danger, even in subtle ways, it moves into protection. The body tightens, attention narrows, and energy is used to defend rather than to create. In this state, the world can feel overwhelming, uncertain, or difficult, even when nothing around us has actually changed. When the nervous system feels safe, something very different happens. The body softens, breathing deepens, and awareness widens. Instead of reacting automatically, we begin to respond with clarity and presence. Creativity returns. Connection becomes easier. Life begins to feel more open and fluid. The somatic path begins with a simple but powerful understanding. The quality of our lives is not determined only by our thoughts, goals, or intentions. It is deeply shaped by the state of the nervous system that lives beneath them. This means that real change does not begin by forcing ourselves to become someone new. It begins by helping the body rediscover safety. As the nervous system gradually relaxes, the constant pressure to control, defend, and prove begins to fade. Space appears inside the body and mind. From that space, new possibilities emerge naturally. What once felt difficult or unreachable can begin to unfold with surprising ease. The somatic path is not about pushing life to change. It is about creating the inner conditions where change becomes possible. When the nervous system learns that it is safe to open, life begins to move again. Most of us believe our personality is simply who we are. We describe ourselves as anxious, driven, shy, controlling, people-pleasing, independent, or perfectionistic. Over time, these patterns feel so familiar that they begin to look like our identity. But the nervous system tells a different story. Many of the behaviors we call personality were originally forms of protection. They developed at moments when the body learned that certain ways of behaving helped us stay safe, accepted, or connected. The nervous system is designed to protect life, and it does this by shaping how we react to the world around us.
If the body learns that conflict feels dangerous, it may create a pattern of avoiding disagreement or pleasing others. If unpredictability feels unsafe, the nervous system may develop a need for control or perfection. If connection once felt risky, the body may learn to withdraw or become self-reliant. Over time, these protective strategies become automatic. They operate quietly beneath conscious thought, shaping decisions, relationships, and opportunities. What we call personality is often the visible surface of these deeper nervous system responses. The important insight of the somatic path is that these patterns are not flaws, and they are not permanent identities. They are intelligent adaptations that help the body survive and navigate earlier experiences. When the nervous system gradually learns that the present moment is safer than the past, these protective patterns begin to soften. The body no longer needs to organize life around constant defense. As protection relaxes, something new becomes possible. Qualities that once felt hidden or unreachable start to emerge naturally. Openness, curiosity, creativity, and ease. In this way, the somatic path is not about changing who you are. It is about discovering who you are beneath the patterns that once kept you safe. When protection relaxes, your natural way of being begins to appear. Many people believe that success, growth, or healing requires pushing harder. We are taught to overcome resistance, to force ourselves through discomfort, and to prove our strength through effort. When something feels difficult, the common advice is simple: try harder. But the body does not work that way. The nervous system determines how much energy, focus, and creativity we actually have available in any moment. When the nervous system feels unsafe or overwhelmed, it shifts into protection. Energy is redirected towards survival rather than growth. In this state, pushing harder rarely works. The more we force ourselves, the more the body interprets the pressure as danger. The nervous system tightens further, and what we are trying to accomplish often becomes even more difficult. What appears to be a lack of motivation or discipline is often a nervous system that has reached its limit. The somatic path introduces a different way of understanding capacity. Capacity is the amount of life the nervous system can safely experience, process, and respond to without becoming overwhelmed. When capacity is small, even simple challenges can feel exhausting. But when capacity grows, the same situations become manageable and sometimes even energizing.
Instead of trying to force change, the somatic path focuses on gently expanding the nervous system's ability to remain open and regulated in the presence of life. As this capacity increases, effort begins to change. Action becomes clearer and more sustainable. Creativity and resilience return. What once required intense pushing can begin to happen with far less strain. Growth is no longer about fighting the body. It becomes a process of working with the body. When the nervous system has the capacity to stay open, life moves forward with far greater ease. Many people believe that receiving more in life should feel exciting. More opportunity, more success, more connection, more abundance. We imagine that if these things appear, we will simply welcome them. But the nervous system often responds very differently. Receiving is not only a psychological experience. It is a somatic one. The body must have the capacity to stay open when something new enters our life. If the nervous system associates visibility, success, or expansion with pressure or risk, it may respond by tightening instead of opening. This can create a quiet but powerful pattern. Just as life begins to expand, the body subtly moves into protection. We may procrastinate, lose momentum, withdraw from opportunity, or create unnecessary complications. From the outside it can look like self-sabotage. But from the perspective of the nervous system, it is simply protection. The body is trying to prevent an experience that once felt overwhelming. The somatic path helps us understand that receiving is not just about wanting more. It is about increasing the nervous system's capacity to remain open while life expands. As the body learns that growth does not equal danger, something begins to change. Opportunities that once triggered tension become easier to hold. Attention no longer collapses under pressure. The nervous system can stay steady even as life becomes larger. Receiving then becomes a natural process rather than a stressful one. Instead of bracing for what might go wrong, the body learns to remain present with what is arriving.
This is why true expansion cannot be forced through effort alone. It requires a nervous system that can remain relaxed and open while life flows in. When the body feels safe enough to receive, abundance stops feeling overwhelming and begins to feel natural. At the beginning of the somatic path, much of life can feel like effort. The body tightens around uncertainty, the mind tries to control outcomes, and we often feel as though we must constantly manage or protect ourselves from what might happen next. This protective state is not a mistake. It is the nervous system doing what it learned to do in order to survive. When experiences in the past felt overwhelming, the body adapted by creating patterns of guarding, controlling, or bracing for what might come. Over time, these patterns become so familiar that we begin to assume this is simply how life feels. But something very different becomes possible as the nervous system begins to relax. As safety returns to the body, the constant sense of defense begins to soften. Breathing becomes easier. Attention widens. The body no longer needs to scan every moment for threat or prepare for what might go wrong. In this more open state, life begins to move differently. Decisions feel clearer because they are no longer filtered through fear. Action becomes more natural because it is not driven by pressure or urgency. Relationships feel more genuine because connection is no longer guarded. This is not about becoming passive or avoiding challenges. Life still includes uncertainty, change, and difficulty. The difference is that the body is no longer organizing itself around constant protection. Instead of living in defense against life, we begin to live in participation with it. The somatic path ultimately leads to a nervous system that remembers its natural state of openness. From this place, presence becomes effortless. Creativity flows more easily. And life feels less like something to struggle against and more like something we are able to meet fully. Wholeness is not something we achieve. It is what remains when the body no longer needs to defend itself from life.
Hi, I'm Jim Daunt, and thank you for watching my videos. Just want to let you know the videos from the last about 2 months have all been based on my new book. It's coming out March 31st, it's both on Kindle and on paperback on Amazon, and it's now available for pre-order on Kindle if you're interested.